Hey guys, it's Ian Horowitz here. Ian's with Equity Warehouse. Ian's been in the storage business for, I guess, what, about 4 or 5 years now?
Yes, yes, sir.
Cool, cool, cool. So, Ian, walk me through what you are the key factors for your underwriting process.
Yeah, there's a few different things that we look at. We're looking at an operating business that is on a piece of real estate. So there's a few different ways to look at it when we're underwriting it. What I do like to do is look at the actuals. Now, in the case of this situation, there are no actuals because the place is burned up and there's no existing income. So it's a little bit harder. But normally we would look at existing income and see where we can take that income to and usually work off a metric of that. Now, with this facility, since it is vacant, and my normal backup to that is what is the price per square foot? Because we got to view it from what does it take to build this facility if it was brand new. With this facility having some burnout sections, it's easy for us to then say, okay, well, we're paying X for this much amount of facility, we're paying Y for this much that's burned up. We have expansion opportunity that's just a complete bonus. Are we buying this cheaper than we could build it at? And I would think the answer to that question is 100% yes, even with improvements at a cost per square foot, with the upside that we have the availability of additional land to sell off, additional area to build more storage, that you're ahead of the curve and don't need to go through the headache and the process of trying to build a new facility.
Okay. Okay. And then could you elaborate? I know you have other facilities in Arkansas. What what do you like about Arkansas? What about the market there? Little insight there.
Yeah, so Arkansas is like just kind of an untapped market. Most of you, if I tell you Arkansas, you're going to think of two things. And I don't want to get into politics, but one's the Clintons in Little Rock, and the other one is Walmart. Those are the only two things in Arkansas. It's just an unfound, it's no man's land, right? And when you go there, it's a great down to earth community. People are great there. But side by side with that, it's like, all right, man, we in Arkansas in general, it's got a good economy. It's stable. It's just not a major like industry area. It's not a major like, oh, I know there's fields there if you go south, or a distribution hub, or any of these other things. It's just kind of out there. And I think that's where a lot of like REITs get scared off. But honestly, we have several facilities in the Little Rock and Pine Bluff market that are performing well. Um, Actually, we have a facility that's about a mile away, and I can tell you that, it produces income and we operate very well. And it's been a good area to operate in comparatively to what we're used to in the Maryland market, right? It's it's a state that is pro business. It's a state that's pro landlord. It's a state that is uh there to assist you to do the right thing. And from that standpoint, that's why we like Arkansas.
Okay. Okay. And I know the question that I get quite a bit is, and for those who don't know, Ian lives in Philadelphia. So people ask me, like, how can you manage a facility that's in Arkansas when you're in Philadelphia, or if you're in Maryland?
Yeah, so I'll just be transparent. We are in Philadelphia slash Maryland. We have almost 700,000, excuse me, 700,000 square feet of storage. Not a single bit of it is in any one of our home states, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what's going on for us. And I will tell you what, it's actually a benefit that it is not in our home state. There is some operational challenges, but we're getting market diversity. We're having exposure to other markets. It is a great way to operate. And when you look at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, what does Maryland and Philadelphia or Pennsylvania offer? There's a higher land acquisition cost. There's higher price per foot. Like everything costs more. Whereas if we're operating from afar in states that have lower um, entrance entrance pricing, it allows us to operate and bring that pricing up to where we're used to. Now, we utilize your FMS, your facility management software. We utilize gates that are connected to the FMS that lock tenants out. We use DaVinci locks that lock, we have tenant that get overlocked if they're late, and they can go on an app, pay. And once they pay, they get a code texted to them. what else do we have? And some stuff, but we have a lot of things that allow us to be able to operate from afar and have success. But we can also still manage it like it was in our backyard. Now, I will just say one operational challenge operating from afar is establishing new vendors, trusting to verify that stuff's getting done. And that's why one of our first improvements at every facility is to put in cameras so we can keep an eye on our facility. And then from there, I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff, like I'm just looking at our reports in the first 2 days of the month. We've transacted, here, I'll tell you right now, we've transacted, I think, 20 move-ins and maybe 8 move-outs. Okay, 17 move-ins, 6 move-outs. So I've had 23 customers go in and out of our facility that have either moved in or moved out that we personally didn't have to meet face to face. They did everything either online or called into our call center to allow them to continue to move through the process and then utilize the gate codes, utilize the Da Vinci locks or whatever it else is to access the units, to get their stuff out or to move into the unit.
And to be clear, those call centers are third-party vendors that deal with many facilities across the country, so they're used to answering the questions and whatnot.
Yeah. Now, when we first started, we utilized the call center. I know one of the call centers we're looking at for this facility, and just to be transparent, I'll be helping Mike side by side, coaching him through and staying on as a minority partner just to make sure this thing goes well. But we're going to utilize either one of the call centers that I really like. The guy's name's Dakota. Excuse me, I don't remember his company name. It's like right here, but I can't remember it. But he manages the call center. He manages the auctions. He manages the dynamic pricing. And there's several others out there like XPS and a couple others. Some of the facility management software has a call center attached to it. Moody's, there's a few others, but honestly, it's about answering the phone. The close window on a tenant that has said, yes, I want to move into your facility is so minute, right? Like they've made this emotional decision to go get a storage unit at that exact moment. And this isn't an emotional attachment like it is. I'm moving my family here for the next several years, buying and selling houses, moving in and out of a rental unit because you want to stay here because you're here for the schools. Where's the closest storage facility? Who's going to answer the phone? And how do I move in right now? Because I got all the crap in the back of my truck. That's really what we're looking for. And that's why we need the speed to transactions, whether it's renting online or renting through a call center.
Okay. So the computer system that you have is like the backbone of your whole production, your operation.
Yeah, so we're gonna get this facility set up on Cubby. They're a new vendor that we're in the process of moving to. They just, we have 15 facilities. There's some corporate reporting stuff on the back end that I'm waiting for them to implement. But their pricing is $1 a unit. It's very transparent. We know where they stand in the pricing market. But their management software is going to tell us what we're going to price our units out. It's going to tell us when to raise the rents on the tenants. It's going to say, hey, tenant, you cannot move into this unit because you are locked, or you can't access your unit because you're locked out because you didn't pay after 5 days. That management software is really a CRM, or it's your control center. That's where we're working out of every single day.
Yeah. I talked to Tully at Cubby last week. And not only that, we have a good friend of ours, Gabe, that can help do all the marketing and optimization on the websites to get people to come to our facility versus someone else.
Yep. And I'm just looking at it right now. The facility we own up the street, we had 5 move-ins in the past 2 days just at that facility. It's literally within a mile and a half of where this facility is on the property we're purchasing, Nash Storage. I can't remember the road name. I apologize. But it's literally just a mile down the road. And I'm looking at our reports. In 2 days, we've had 5 move-ins, and that doesn't even include the 31st. That's when a lot of people move in and move out. So,
yeah. And you were talking to me offline about the added, I don't want to say out, maybe it's added value, but the added income we could produce by having tenant insurance. Things like that. I mean, that's something that's really above and beyond what their monthly fee is.
Yeah, so there's a couple value adds. Again, like I said, we're looking at an operating business side by side with the underlying real estate, right? Like we're all looking at the intrinsic value of the real estate, but really it's just an operating business to create that NOI to get the capitalization rate from a real estate perspective. It limits our multiples sometimes, but you know what? It is what it is. So with that being said, there is multiple ways. So one way is obviously every month we're getting a fee to rent to a unit to a tenant. When they move in, one fee that we charge is an admin or a processing fee for them to move in. It does take work to move a tenant in if they've called or they moved in online. We have boots on the ground, go out and verify. Did Mike Schock move into unit 101? Yes, he did. There's now a customer lock on it. Cool, that's verified. So there is a cost associated with that. So that's how we justified charging anywhere from a $10 to $25 admin fee at time of move in. When they move in, something that we like to offer is tenant insurance. Now, everybody's stuff is covered by their homeowners or renters policy because it is stuff that is presumably from their household. Obviously, businesses have their own general liability, but sometimes we do offer, well, we do offer 100% of the time tenant insurance, and people like to opt in. Generally speaking, it's $12 to cover $2,500 worth of stuff. We'll revenue share about $7. Don't quote me, just call it $6 to $8 of that revenue will come to our bottom line. So generally speaking, on a facility of this side, I would say anywhere from 70 to 80% of the tenants will opt in to tenant insurance because it is a part of the move-in process. And really, when they're moving in, they have to opt out of the tenant insurance. So that's the ancillary fee that we do charge. Well, it's not an ancillary fee. It is a product and a benefit that people utilize. One thing that we've implemented, and I got 4,000 units that we manage. We've implemented a $10 a month fee. We $1.99 for administrative on a monthly basis, $3.99 payment processing fee on a monthly basis, and $3.99 facility management fee. And people are like, oh, you're price gouging, you're price gouging. But go look at the last time you got a hotel room or rented a car or literally check something out on Amazon. Like everybody has fees in place. And that's the best way to pass some of that burden off. And not a lot of, I mean, honestly, we rolled that out within the past 3 months across 4,000 tenants. And we have maybe had like 1 or 2 calls on it. Like I don't want to jinx myself, but since we rolled it out, really nobody has complained, and it's becoming a new industry norm that we're starting to see across the board because transparently, this is kind of getting deep into the weeds. There has been some retraction in some of the market pricing that you're seeing forward facing, right? So what does that mean? Well, during COVID, everybody was moving around the country. People were moving from, say, here locally, they moved from DC out to the sticks in West Virginia. They'd only commute 3 days a week and they needed an in-home office. So they needed a storage unit to move their crap into. Then they buy this new house and they're like, well, crap, I need a home office to work out of every day. I need a storage unit to then put all the other crap that I couldn't fit in my house. People started buying toys, RVs, boats, you name it. Like there was all this rush on all this stuff, right? Well, that's all slowly but surely like kind of retracting. So the demand's retracting just a little bit. I don't want to scare you, but I'm just giving you like an overview of the market. There is a retraction in pricing there. So we're compensating some of this retraction in pricing by picking up this $10 fee on a monthly basis. And the other thing is it allows us to be the bottom price in the market to get people to rent from us, but then we're making up that $10 on top of that on a monthly basis. So those are just some different ways to monetize the property without actually having to rent more units and working with what you have in front of you and generating additional income. I know it was a long-winded answer. I apologize, but
Oh,
I
that's
just
okay.
give
That's
you
okay.
a complete overview.
So real quick, you mentioned boots on the ground. So a lot of people, for people that don't know, it's a local person that goes visits a site. Can you paint a picture of like what that looks like? How many hours is he on site per week? What's, because he's not there full time, obviously.
Yeah, so like the expectation of a boots on the ground is someone who's going to go and check the facility. Are they going to clean the units out? No, you could, but it's usually an additional fee. I mean, everybody does it a little different. This facility, based on the size, is a little small from the standpoint of saying, well, how much should we pay? Should it be $150 a week? Should it be $250 a month? Should it be $20 an hour? We don't, right? Like, this facility is small enough that we should be able to negotiate a contract price of somewhere. We budgeted $150 a week because I know that works, right? Someone's going to go over there 10 hours a week. They're going to go check customer locks for us. They're going to go take pictures of auctions. They're going to make sure the site is clean and in order. Maybe they go 1 5-hour day and another 5-hour day after work. But we're not looking for full-time employment. Someone who maybe needs to manage our vendors. And we always tell them, hey, boots on the ground, there's a ton of work up front to get this facility cleaned and squared away. But once you have it cleaned and squared away, there's like very limited stuff for you to do. Now, we manage facilities that have 500 units. There's crap to do every single day. We manage units that are only 88. We manage sites that are only 88 units, and my boots on the ground goes maybe there once a week, even though it's in his travels of the 6 other facilities we own in the area. But he doesn't spend a lot of time at that facility. So it's all relative. I would expect about $150 a week, and that they're going to do the lock checks, pictures for auctions, and light cleanup work.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier about your move in and move outs. What other KPIs or other stats do you look at on a weekly, monthly, daily basis that would help you manage?
Yeah, excuse me. So when we're fighting for occupancy, I only care about move-ins and move-outs. When I'm somewhere where I want to be stable, I only care about bottom line revenue. And if revenue is increasing by rate increases, by additional fees, by people signing up for 24-hour, I forgot to say that one, 24-hour access, $25 a pop, right? Like those types of things, selling the ancillary services to what we already have. Like I only care about revenue. I do check management reports. I mean, I'm relatively like a little insane with some of it. Some of it has to do with, hey, you're fighting for occupancy. You're trying for every competitive advantage. You're spending $500 to $700 a month on Google per site. It adds up quick. Like that's a big pop of the budget that, you need to account for. With that being said, to me, those are the 2 biggest ones: move-ins, move-outs, your revenue collected, and then finally your AR. Now we're in a competitive situation here because we're coming up from free, or from no one on site. So we're going to be worried about move-ins and move-outs for the first 12 months. After the first 12 months, and we know some sort of trajectory where we do expect, great. Now we're going to start concentrating on revenue management and managing our AR on a consistent basis and not letting people fall behind, keeping that AR in line, and keeping it low as possible. Arkansas has a longer than normal auction process than many other states in the Midwest. So they're a little liberal on that side of things. But managing the AR is going to be a big thing. And those are the metrics that we're going to want to look at. So first 12 months, move-ins, move-outs. And after that, we're going to be looking at driving revenues and keeping the AR down.
And then we know that this property is in a opportunity zone. Can you just give a quick overview for people that might not know what that is and how it works?
Yeah. If it's something that you guys decide to take advantage of, it's very specific investors who might want to take advantage of this. Basically, the government came out and said, Uncle Donald was in office then. Don't quote me, 2019, 2020, somewhere around there. The opportunity zones really, really had some horsepower behind it. And basically what it is any capital gain that you invest into a new investment, you could defer your capital gains tax till 2026. And then past that, if you hold the investment for 10 years, your new capital gains would be tax-free. So like, let's just use realistic. You go and you say, Mike's out here, we're going to go do this project. You want to buy the whole thing, right? You say, hey, I'll take the whole capital stack. I'm going to sell off a bunch of stock. Great. You sell that stock off. You defer your tax on that stock. Let's just say the round numbers is what, 500 grand-ish. You're going to raise that 500 grand. Okay. You sell off your stock. Well, normally you would pay long-term capital gains on that. Well, instead, you're able to defer that tax payment till 2026. From that 2026 deferment, we're buying this in 2024. We need to hold and operate this thing until 2034. Now, in 2034, let's just say we buy it for 500 and now it's worth $1 million. I'm using round numbers. I'm not sure. We didn't take our pro forma out 10 years, but let's just say it's worth $1 million. That $500,000 delta from your basis to your new money earned is going to be tax-free. So that new $500,000 of profit that you just earned is 100% tax-free. There is 5 years. Don't quote me. There's like a payment penalty, but some of it is tax-free, maybe like 60%. And then at 7 years, there's another tax-free break. And then at 10 years, it's 100% tax-free. So if someone was like, hey, me and a buddy of mine want to take this whole capital stack and we want to ride this out, we just need to know that. And we're in this investment for 10 years. And we just need to know that up front, because there is some paperwork that has to be done, has to be drafted, has to be in a partnership. There's a couple check boxes that we need to do, but if someone's in the tax situation that they need the benefit of this, it's a no-brainer for them. And it's something to look at, because I think long-term on this facility, there's a lot of cool little pieces to it, with selling off some of the additional land, building some additional storage there, and holding it for a period of time. I believe it'll be worth well more than $1 million by the time it is stabilized 10 years from now.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Ian is a retired firefighter. So a lot of people here, when the facility caught fire, there's a little panic if they're not used to dealing with fires and stuff like that. But since these facilities are built with concrete and basically sheet metal, you as a firefighter, do you see any structural damage being part of that, and how bad is it? Or to me, it's just a quick fix. You're putting a garage door in, you're reskinning the building, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a metal building. So for metal like that to expand, it has to be 1,000 degrees at a sustained time period, and then you would see the metal actually goes like this. It creates like a torsion effect, right? Like it just spreads out and it goes like this, and it would be obviously noticeable. Well, I can tell you right now, just by looking at it, that there's no structural damage. From what I can tell, based on our professional opinions, the door jamb still looks square. Really, it's just a sheet metal job. The sheet metal that's been smoke stained or damaged needs to be pulled out so it doesn't smell like smoke anymore. Place new sheet metal back into it, get the place cleaned up and deodorized, ozoned out, and ready to go. So with that, it's not as much of a lift as it looks. Dude, as luck has it, I just had a fire in a facility in Pine Bluff, and we're going through the same thing. So it's not that crazy of a lift. Now, it is construction. We do have $75,000 budgeted to renovate this piece of it. You start opening stuff can happen. So at our first glance and belief from the tour that Mike took in depth, I don't think that there's going to be additional issues, because it is a metal building. We're not dealing with a wood structure that it sucks in the odors, that it cause scarring or burning. A wet day like this, the wood's gonna release the aromas as the humidity pushes through the wood, whereas the metal, it's just a dense piece of metal that is not going to release the aromas the same way a natural piece of wood will.
Yeah, and in the presentation, there's extensive video and pictures of the fire damage. Let me do this. Let me share my screen. I'm going to pull up the presentation. We can go over it pretty quick. I know people probably already have seen this, but just want to see if anyone has any questions on this. So obviously this is a picture of the self-storage. Let me minimize this so I can, there you go. So this is it's called Nash Self-Storage now. As you can see right in here, those are the units that caught fire. There's like 16 on this side, 16 on the other two. So it's really 16 bays divided in half. So we're calling it 32. It's a virtual tour of the facility. These are links that you can just click on it. Click on that, and then you can drive around the facility and just check it out. This is sped up a little bit, but you can go back and check it out on that. So my Zoom's going to end in probably like 5 minutes. So we'll go through it pretty quick, but some added value. Right now, this facility has no websites, no systems in place. We have commercial frontage at the front that we think we can do land leases on to generate more income. There's multiple acres for expansion. There's a pad already poured that we could do immediately. So here's the funding that we're looking for. We're buying it for $439,075 in rehab. We're estimating the closing cost about 15, and it's all in about $39 per square foot. And Ian, what do you think to rebuild cost is from the ground up?
I mean, right now without land acquisition, you're probably upwards of about $50 a foot. I mean,
Okay.
it's a bit of a grind right now to get stuff at a cheap basis. I mean, do I think you get it done for 45? Maybe. I would expect 50 to 60 bucks a foot without land right now. You got to remember this price includes land, right?
Oh yeah.
When we're looking at building it, we're looking at building it at $45 to $50 a foot without the land. We're getting 7, 8 acres here,
Yeah. Okay. The opportunity zone, we talked about that. I got some links in here that you can do some more research on. The exit plan, we think it's going to take 3 years to stabilize. And then in that time frame, we can either sell it or refinance it. I would love to hold on to this. This is a cash cow. It's great. It's generational wealth. After 3 years, we think at a 7 cap, it could be over $1 million. So years 5, 6, 7 be worth even more because there's plenty of room for expansion. Here's a unit mix and some opportunities. The yellow part down here is more units that we can add. So we can get up to about almost 150 units here. It's income and expenses. You guys can read through that. So I just had this a quick comparison between buying rental units, because I know a lot of our investors are used to buying rentals, but for the same capital stack, you can buy 3 rental properties. And if they're generating, let's say $2,000 a month, that's $6,000. Well, we think, we'll be at 9,000 once we stabilize this facility.
Yep.
There's Ian. You can read more about him. I got some links down here. This is the current facility. Here is a poured pad that we can already build immediately on. And then there's a grassy area over here, which we could put box wells or storage containers there for more storage, or just park RV and boats. So this is a little overview of what the current units are, future unit mix, and just really what I just talked about. So again, stabilizing this, there is a front commercial land that we talked about doing a land lease. There is an office that we could rent to a business, and we could easily park plenty of RVs and boat parking there as well.
And to be clear, none of that's been monetized in the pro forma. That's all bonus money that will be
so none of that's accounted for.
Yeah.
So again, the office, reoccurring fees, we talked about that, tenant insurance, move-in fees, that kind of thing. A box well, here's a little link that you can go see what a box well is. It's basically a transportable storage unit that you can move around. Immediate plan of action, obviously we need to clean up the facility, empty out all the units, put new garage doors on the units that burn, do the insulation, some divider walls, but not many. We're going to inspect every door for bad door springs. And like Ian said earlier, just deodorize, make sure there's no move any chalky residue from the fire. So we mentioned Cubby earlier. We're going to get involved with Cubby. They're going to be our CRM, our FMS. We're going to get insurance, and then we're just going to start doing some things like weed kill and mowing the area. So here's a facility that did catch fire. You can get better pictures on the facility tour, but you'll see that it's not that bad. There is a cell tower on the property, but we believe we don't have any income on that. And as of right now, none of that is included in the income as well. So a couple more pictures of the facility, and then a little bit of demographics. about the area, and some typical terms that are used in the storage business. So that's really it. And then I just put this here so you can sort of see what the different size units would do. So, well, yeah, with that said, I mean, it's what I love about the storage facilities is it's you don't have that human element of someone living there. There's no toilets to unclog. You're dealing with, personal property versus real property. And yeah, I'm excited for this whole thing. So
Yeah, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I'm
yeah,
excited to see you. We did a similar situation with another close friend of ours, that is local to Maryland, and we stayed on as a partner with him on the back end, and he bought a facility up in Ohio for 750. Well, all in 750. He put box wells in, improved the site. He was all in at 750. And currently today we have it listed at 1.575 and should be entertaining an offer here in the very short future. We got an LOI that came in, or it's coming in. So we're excited to see what happens. And that was all done within a 2-year time frame, a complete double. And I believe that Mike would have this similar success here, along with the success we've had inside of our portfolio, all with similar type metrics. So,
and just to say those numbers again, it's all in 750. And what was the
1.575.
they
So it
doubled
was
it?
a
Okay.
complete double. We've had similar situations. We've had similar situations in our portfolio. We bought a facility for 1.4 and we're getting ready to list it at 3 million. We bought a facility at 300 grand, just listed it for 995, got an 895 offer almost immediately. So there is a need for this size product. The problem is nobody's willing to take on this headache of getting this place set up. Me and Mike have talked about this business plan and have discussed the following: to get it cleaned up, get it stabilized, show proof of concept that it can get leased up, and then go ahead and sell it off, refinance it if it's an opportunity zone, keep it, cash flow it. There's a million things we can do. It just needs to be cleaned up, and nobody's willing to take this burden on directly.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that we didn't mention either is this facility was built in 2003. So it's just 21 years old. It's not like
Yeah.
a 1950s or 1960 property. I mean, it looks attractive. It's pleasing to the eye, good curb appeal.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Ian, I appreciate your time, buddy.
yep. No problem. I'm excited to see you have success here, and I'll catch you guys
Yeah.
the next one.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.